Welcome to the Let It Bleed podcast, a place where you can hear the liquor-fueled ramblings of two narcissistic wizards who conjure the essence of inspirational people every week and bring it straight to you.
And just how do you plan on doing that? Magic. Motherfucker.
And now for the wizards themselves, David Amaya and Phil Arroyo.
It's the greatest show of all time, man. Like, if you think Ghost Hunters was good, oh my god, Ghost Adventures, it's my new fucking favorite thing.
I don't think I can differentiate, the Ghost Hunters and fucking whatever this show is and whatever all the other ghost shows that they fucking have are.
Okay, imagine if the most, just person that that is just way too confident in, what they're doing,
Yeah.
And they're just, really happy and, just putting their shit out there, and you just kind of, you don't really want to tell them nothing. All right, imagine they had gotten high and watched one season of Ghost Hunters in a night, and then decided we can do that and just made their own show with an Xbox and their mom's video camera. It's fucking hysterical, dude.
Oh, you mean what I already did?
Yeah.
Basically.
They
didn't pick me up though. What is this on the Travel Channel?
Yeah,
Really?
they'll
Gosh.
take fucking anything
Apparently.
This is crazy.
Yeah, but this is an actual photo. They show you just a fucking photo that got probably soaked in water.
Dude,
it's all
every single episode they're like, "Oh my god, did you see that?"
It's
And
a
they're
ghost.
rewind it. It's clearly just a fly or some light
or a cat piss stain that
Yeah.
a cat just fucking pissed on, and it's oh, look at this, you see this spot right here, it's a little lighter. It's
oh
a
dude,
fucking
you need
ghost.
to actually get in, listen to the guy. He talks like somebody is putting it in Microsoft Word and then having it read it back to them for some reason.
I don't know
He
what that
talks like this. And when the ghosts go, when we looked at the footage again from the X-Cam, we noticed that there was an anomaly that manifested within the doorway of the section, right where we suppose that ghost would have died 40 years ago.
The pros and cons of the do-it-yourself age, the age where anybody can make anything they want. Obviously, I know. What is up with that dog? It's a ghost dog.
Ghost dog.
It's a fucking ghost dog.
Ghost dog.
Duh! Look at Frankie over there in the corner.
Ghost
She's obviously affected
Frankies.
by the fucking ghost dog.
Look, she's all white. She's
also,
fucking terrified,
she's
man.
scared shitless.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. But it's whereas now, it's got its pros and cons. Like I said, you can make your own music, you can make your own movies. You're not subject to restrictions that whatever company you work for or whatever news network you work for or whatever fucking anything, you can do whatever you want.
Gatekeepers are gone.
But because of that, you're subject to a lot of bullshit too. You have to filter through a lot of shit that you're gonna watch. You're like, okay,
it's a damn shame, and I am sorry to everybody who works in such we live in a golden age of television. People are just putting their heart and soul and just making these absolute masterpieces, and I am enjoying them about as much as I'm enjoying this just steaming pile of shit that somehow has 13 fucking seasons and is still on the air.
Holy shit.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Who's
13
watching
fucking
this?
seasons.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I feel like this dude still wears Ed Hardy shirts.
I was just researching.
His name is Zach with just Z-A-K. What? Everything about the show is just you can't make that up. It's just the way it crosses over is just fucking brilliant.
But speaking of a good show, that has to do with this, which is obviously fiction though, is The Haunting of Hill House. Have you seen it yet?
I have not. Is that the Netflix one?
Yeah, aside from the name, which is confusing for so many people, and it might actually deter a lot more people from watching it, because why the fuck would you call it The Haunting of Hill House? There's already the fucking what's haunting or the haunting. Wait,
it takes place in a valley. First of all, that's fucking weird.
What's the other one though? It's the other House
Literally,
on Haunted Hill.
You could
See,
slice
I can't
that
even fucking say it
in
because
4 different ways and get 4 different movies.
Yeah, because there already is. There's another
The Haunting.
There's another show called The Haunting.
Ew.
There was a movie called The Haunting with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Owen Wilson back in the day. I don't know if you remember that one, but so there's that. There's a show called Haunting or The Haunting. Then there's also House on Haunted Hill, but this one's The Haunting of Hill House. Do not let the
more you say that word, the less it means anything to me. Just haunted.
The
haunting is haunted.
Yeah,
Haunted.
aside, do not let the name fuck you over, because it's actually an amazing show. It's very well written. They nail the family dynamic. There's like a whole family, and they go and break down each one of the characters. Like they have an episode that's kind of dedicated to them, and they obviously like just keep showing the same things happen from different perspectives. They all kind of just keep coming back together.
Okay.
And it's got like the same essence of horror that The Conjuring had.
Okay.
But I just think it's better. And I mean, aside from the spooky aspect, which I wasn't watching it for, it did have its jumpers, like parts where you're like, oh shit, you know. And now with special effects, they are able to do stuff. But I'm okay, thank you. They are able to, you know, it's a great show. Like they go into, it's a lot. It's very metaphorical, layered, with all these metaphors.
Oh, that's cool, man. Like
for psychological disorders and stuff that I think is very prevalent in society.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. See, I feel like horror is a really hard genre to do like as a series because like you know it's about like mystery and build up, and then as you start to reveal like mysteries, you start to take away like the fear of the unknown that like is kind of what you're inherently trying to push into whoever's watching that.
Right.
So yeah, like if you start going beyond 2-3 hours, like I feel like it really starts to drop off a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, American Horror Story. Like you know,
American...
some of them get rough. So I'm excited. I will definitely I will check that out. And you know what we just watched the other day that was really good was fucking Apostle, which is on Netflix too.
I didn't actually watch it. I was watching little bits of it, but I watched that after I watched The Witch. And I thought The Witch was great.
Oh, okay, yeah. After I told you that,
amazing.
Yeah, it's fucking
thought
good.
That
right?
was probably one of the better movies I've seen in a while. Just because, I mean, it's not for everybody. I'll say that, but I think that the fact that they actually fucking spoke the language the way that, you know, the Pilgrims are, at least as well as I could have imagined they would have fucking spoke it. You know, like
I kept thinking, oh, like this should seem cheesy, but like no. Like it works. It's good.
It had its like, you know, creepiness to it because it seems so real. It felt very real, and those like fucking, you know, little kids, man.
They were good.
The little fucking
little
kids
were
creepy.
Good.
Yeah. But
oh my God.
But that boy too, like when he's, you know, I mean, not to spoil anything, but when he's, you know, going up into like, or when he's, you know, he's gone or he's possessed, and what he says, like his little.
Oh yeah, dude, that kid like
nailed it.
You know what? Actually, I really don't think I was so encaptured in that moment. It was so fucking intense. I don't think I actually like went, holy shit, wait, that kid just gave a great performance. Like I didn't even step out of it for a second to realize that. Dude, you're right.
He nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. That was such a great movie. And then the ending too, which is kind of like, it ended in the same manner that the movie The Ninth Gate did with Johnny Depp. I'm not sure if you ever saw that one. It was not.
I've seen 1 through 8, but I haven't seen The Ninth Gate yet. So fucking like,
it wasn't that great of a movie. I was
spoilers.
intrigued by it because it had to do with like, you know, it's one of those like mysteries where he's like, he's a book authenticator, and he's paid by this rich man to go authenticate these books that are
I'm guessing if your job title is book authenticator,
well, he's
like,
supposed to authenticate a book that's supposed to be like a devil summoner, and there's like 2 forgeries, and he's supposed to figure out which one's the real one, because the guy, obviously he's rich as fuck and wants it, and so he goes on all these little adventures, and all this shit happens to him, and at the end it's not really.
Would you call them ghost adventures? Was that fair to say?
I would say straight devil shit.
Was his name Zach Baggins?
Zach Baggins. His name's Baggins?
It's Baggins, dude.
Oh my goodness, that is fucking precious. He fucking just, you know, has only been off the Shire for a little bit, and now he's fucking making ghost stories, making ghost shit. Anyway, it's got this ending in The Witch where it's like, you know, kind of, it's totally
really...
a metaphor for like society where, or you know, new beginnings. At least that's the way I perceived it. Where it was like, you know, out with this outdated way of thinking that is actually more treacherous to, you know, us than anything. And here's this other mysterious thing, which is kind of bad, but is it really bad? Like, you know, at the end of it all, it's creepy, it's scary, but like she feels liberated and like brand new. And so there's obviously, anyways, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, that's some devil shit, you know, but it's kind of, it symbolizes this
it's some devil shit, and it's fucking dope.
Well, I mean,
don't devil shame.
Yeah, it just depends what you're into, I suppose. But so there's that, and I saw Apostle, and I thought that was comparatively kind of cheesy.
Oh yeah, it was
And-
for sure cheesy. I liked it for different reasons.
Got it.
And I wouldn't say that I liked. I'm not sure if it was like a better movie than that one, but it was fun. You know?
Okay.
It was just like cool. It was stylish. It was shot beautifully. Like it was very, just kind of creative in like the smaller choices that they made.
Right.
And like you kind of get into I like the like kind of pseudo like world of like the like turn of the century 1900s.
Right.
It was like, oh, it's like that, but like not really. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're like a different thing. Going
Yeah.
on. And I
Well,
thought everybody like played that part well. And then,
Netflix
like,
has certainly been killing it. Like,
Yes, they
and
have.
with these little mini series now that I enjoy because it's like in between a series, an ongoing series,
Mhm.
and a fucking movie. Because you're gonna need to tell a great story, more episodes than a movie. You need episodes
Yeah.
because in a movie it's really hard to cram all of this shit into there. There's all these holes. You're like, wait, what the fuck happened here? With a limited series such as like Maniac or The Haunting of Hill House, because it's not going to go. I don't think it is. It shouldn't, because they pretty much capped it off. Like they ended it. So
Yeah.
I doubt that it's going to have anything unless it's a
and that's
brand
fine.
new story.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like
Absolutely.
I love the artistic integrity that you preserve
Yeah.
when you do something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Just
American
saying
Horror
it's
Stories
just going to be this.
Yeah, American Horror Story started off strong, but then the whole idea of them using the same characters in every single season started off to be cool, but then it kind of was like, I'm over it.
See,
I'm fucking over
I
it.
think what they should have done was flipped it around and used new writers for every season.
Mm.
Because
Well, somebody told me that they would just
I-
only write the first few episodes, and then they would
It's
start
clear
recording,
they only write the first
and
few
then they would
episodes,
just wing
and they
it.
just wing it for 4 more.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, like the first 5 episodes of American Horror Story of like every season that I've seen,
Yeah.
I really like.
Yeah,
And then the last 5 are just shit and
Yeah.
kind of ruined the first 5 for me.
like the gnarly one was with the clown and Freak Show, and then as soon as
Yeah, that was
he
great.
dies off, you're like, okay, this sucks. Like-
Literally, that's the episode where I'm like, shit. For
Yeah.
me, that's where the season ends.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that was good.
Yeah.
But then, oh no, wait, you did 5 more episodes? Oh,
Mm.
okay. Oh, what? Okay, but.
Can this mini series of our political climate just already be over?
Oh man, that was a hell of a segue.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Can I try one?
Go
All right.
for it.
So speaking of things that should scare the shit out of all of us, it's election season. The midterms are coming up, and it might be the last one we ever get if this doesn't go well, people. I'm not kidding. This has been a fucking rough week, man. We've had, radical terror fucking rising in this country and being endorsed by the people at the highest levels. And it's like a fucking blitz now. Like it seems like the violent blitz towards like authoritarianism that I've been trying to fucking talk about this whole time, man. It's like, we had the biggest assassination attempt of a politically motivated assassination attempt in this country ever, attempted this week.
And they tried to send bombs into was it Hillary? Who else?
They sent bombs to the Clintons, to the Obamas. They sent 3 different bombs to CNN. They sent bombs to Kamala Harris, to Cory Booker. They sent bombs to
And do they know who
George
it is?
Soros.
Who is it?
They sent
Who is it exactly?
Oh yeah, they caught him.
Oh,
They caught him in Florida.
So who is like one person?
It's a guy. You know what? I'm not going to give him the dignity of saying his name
Okay.
but it's easy to find out. And of course, he was a fucking diehard Donald Trump is Jesus MAGA head. You just look at his timeline, on Twitter, it's just full of death threats to these people. Eric Holder and shit like that, and then him at Trump rallies and just tweeting the most racist, vile shit, and then death threats, and then saying, "Holy shit, Donald Trump is the greatest thing of all time." And dude, if you haven't seen it yet, you really should look it up. The van that they caught this guy in, his van, just wall to wall papered in Donald Trump stickers, and all this
At
crazy
this point, I don't think I
Republican
want to give
propaganda.
that guy that fucking
It's
that
insane,
sort of,
man.
Recognition as well, as you said.
Well, the most
I don't-
disgusting thing about that whole episode to me was that these bomb threats started coming in, lots of them. And the first thing that the president and that Fox News and that every major Republican party head said was, this is probably a false flag attack by the Democrats. they're sending these bombs to themselves to make us look
But
bad.
you should have seen
just
that
before
one
the
coming.
midterms.
There, you knew they were gonna do that. Is Alex Jones got on some sort of platform to go and talk about this already?
But Alex Jones is saying the same shit as the president of the United States.
Right.
He's saying the same shit as what's on the news that these people exclusively watch.
No, excuse me here. We're going to go to my people over here. We're going to talk to them and find out what really happened. I have a guy. He's I'm not going to say who he is, but he's very important. He's connected to the FBI, and he was telling me that this is a false flag attempt. You know, it's not really all that it seems. So it's all about the liberals just trying to confuse you and trying to make you scared about our president.
That's gonna be a PBS show like really soon.
Yeah.
Fucking A, man. And like, you know what's kind of funny though is like I do like to imagine that guy, and like he fucking sends all these bombs out and like pulls off this gigantic assassination attempt, and then he watches the news and they're like, oh yeah, this is a false flag attack by liberals. And he's like, wait, no, it wasn't. It was me, you guys. Like, holy shit. Have they just been fucking crazy and lying about this shit the whole time? Like,
you would hope
it's fun for me to imagine like that was the thing that made him realize, oh, okay, they're just making this shit up.
Yeah.
And it's really dangerous.
You know what's more fun for me to imagine about Alex Jones is him as a wrestler, like a professional wrestler, and his moves being like the George Soros slam or the fucking globalist guillotine
I feel like,
or the fucking reptilian pile drivers.
I feel like that was like wrestling is to Alex Jones as like painting was to Hitler. You know, it's like, damn, we should have just encouraged his wrestling.
Yeah,
because he would have been
seriously.
really good at that.
I know, he would have been
He would
perfect
be
for
such
that.
a great fucking wrestler.
He's got the physique for it too, dude. The dude's just like one of
yeah.
those guys that's just like a solid rock, like a round rock. Like, you know, like I saw a picture of him shirtless on a horse, and I was just like, "What the fuck, dude?" I said, "Show
just like Putin."
Yeah. Oh yeah, but
Yeah, it's like staged in the
two
same
different
way.
body types, but you know, it's a good. I would wonder who would win in a wrestling match between them two.
Oh, no, Putin.
Putin probably. He's got the Russian skills, and like it's like Putin's got like that fedora.
He was like a
Emelianenko.
highly decorated like KGB, you know,
Yeah,
like operative.
yeah,
Like he knows what he's doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Alex Jones will straight up fucking try to bite his dick off or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like if
He will.
If
He'll be
they were
like,
wrestling, he'd probably try to fucking
call
bite
me
his
a
dick
frog because I'm about to turn you gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
That's hilarious. I'm gonna try to incorporate that into like a stand-up bit of some sorts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use that. Alex Jones
I
biting
did
the
it
dick
again,
off
by the
of
way.
a. Oh, you did.
I did it again, yeah, but this time I remembered it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I remembered it.
Okay.
The first time I don't remember. I don't know if we talked about it on here.
Yeah, we did.
We did. So I went up and like at the idea, once I realized I was going to go up, I started drinking a lot more and I blacked out. Like, only blacked out in the moment because I remember a little bit afterwards, but I just I can't recall like me doing it. And so this time around being sober, I went up and it was definitely nerve wracking, but I remember it. It was great. I got some laughs. And so it was kind of encouraging to continue to write some more stuff.
That's awesome.
I
man.
actually didn't like write anything or at least think about anything until like the day before for like an hour or so. I was just coming up with ideas. Then I worked. And then like an hour before the actual event, I tried to cram this all in my head and tried to remember it. And obviously I like kind of forgot stuff as I got there. And you know, so they had the 4 featured comics or 5 featured comics. And then there was like a 1-minute joke challenge. So like 4 or 5 people did that. And then it was an open mic. I was at the very fucking end of the open mic.
Okay.
So it kind of alleviated a lot of the pressure
absolutely.
being
That's
that
a good
people
way
left.
to get into it.
Yeah. Although during the 1-minute fucking joke challenge
Is this like Kill Tony or?
what do you
Or is this a different thing?
it was called The Blend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
that was
V
V's
Bentley,
thing.
V's
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, so
Okay.
I've only gone to her thing so
Okay.
far. Like
that's the format of another show at the Comedy Store.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
no, I haven't done anything at the Comedy Store yet, or gone to the Comedy Store. Although I will say that shit, man, she's really organized something because it's a consistent following of the same people, like from the one I went to a couple weeks ago at the brewery,
Yeah.
and this one over here. Solid group of people, like very, very supportive family of comics. We even all went to Clancy's and did karaoke afterwards. And
That's cool.
It was like the most fun I'd ever had sober. Like these people, it wasn't just like karaoke where you're like nervous and you're like, oh my God, like, like I can't sing in front of people because everybody is up there singing together. It was like the coolest fucking thing.
Oh, that's cool.
But anyway, yeah,
That doesn't work as good for stand up.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I know. We all get up there and tell the jokes. It was kind of funny.
I like to imagine that all of you just fucking just bombed so hard at karaoke.
Yeah, I was
just went up there and just like, ooh. Like,
I was glad that a lot of people did leave though, because there was 2 guys in the 1 minute joke challenge that pretty much covered a large part of what I was gonna say, my jokes, and so I was like, oh shit, what the fuck am I gonna do now?
I've had that moment before.
Yeah, like, that's
just like right before you go on, like somebody else said something similar, or you hear something that just changes. Like you're just like, oh shit, that was 3 minutes of what I was about to say in 2 minutes here.
Yeah.
And you just fucking go for it, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, like it helps to like have your bullet points, have your outlines. You don't necessarily have to have it exactly like word for word written out. Like that's a lot of pressure to like get on yourself.
It was, definitely. I was going up there with that sort of notion that, I wanted to do it perfectly, and seeing people with their phones or even notepads up there was refreshing. But it also challenges me because I don't want to do that still. Like I want to remember, like it's just me and my nature.
Afraid to do that. Like I do that still.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you got to go do it. You got to go. I want to see you.
Dude, I asked you like when the next one is. Like I'm seriously.
I posted it though. I put
I don't look at.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at like social media really like at all.
I don't know. She's a good promoter and a good organizer, because she's definitely like encouraging and kind of like keeping consistently like on me about like, hey, yeah, you should totally come to the next one. Let's go do some more. Like she even hit me up last night to go to another one, which was an open mic for story writing. It wasn't even like I don't think it was comedy or something else. I would have gone if I wasn't working, because that sounds cool too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because though I have way too much on my plate to be focusing on already still to finish, it's a new world that I'm kind of like intrigued by now.
Dude, yeah, no. Yeah. Like, dude, I will go with you. Like that shit is super fun. I love doing it. I haven't been to like I just have not gone in a while, in like a long time actually. And like I want to get back into it.
Right.
And it's just it's kind of like tough if you don't really know people. Like you're not like close to anybody that's like, doing the things.
Right.
And so it's always like, it's just more fun if you got like.
Totally.
Like,
that's what I said.
Like, partner up with and do it.
Exactly. Like I mean, this is a great, freaking gateway into like doing other open mics and such. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited. But now that was what I had to say about that. Back to what we were talking about, the nasty, vile things that.
Yes. The gross things that are going on there. And so, it's the last, this is going to be the last show before the election next week. So by the time anybody can hear us next, it will be, there isn't any other more times. We're done.
Yeah.
I've been telling you to vote. I've been telling you to register. I've been telling you to, do your due diligence, do your homework on this shit.
The homework is tough though, man. I will say it is tough. And like for the average person who feels intimidated, tune in and like listen to what somebody who's done the research has to say about it. Cause I've like briefly been looking over some shit, and it's very confusing because it's one of those things where some of the props kind of seem like a catch-22. Like,
that is like every year. Like so many of the props are like, because that's the only time we are voting on like legislation.
Right.
Like that's so much more like infinitely complicated than just voting for a person.
Sure.
If the person says, this is my idea, this is my idea, this is my idea, but they're also saying, I'm the one who's going to figure out how to like make that work.
Right.
And like the props are, that's like a full, you got the full like language of the bill there.
And it just depends on how it's being presented to you.
Talk about that.
Because right now I was listening on NPR, they were talking about how this year, more than in any times in the past, that the advertisements for propositions or for candidates or against candidates have just been so like just fear-based, like, and just straight up just saying like, don't vote for this because this is shitty. Like, like just kind of just straight up like, if you vote for this person, you're voting for this, and like blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just very much like, well, that wasn't really much help in terms of, I still have no idea what the fuck I'm going to be voting for or not.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like on the national level, it is kind of crazy to see how this is playing out, among like, not so much California, but like, in the rest of the country where you're seeing how like the Republican base's ad strat or like the Republican Party's ad strategy is to say we're going to protect Social Security and Medicare, and we're also going to protect pre-existing conditions. And they're saying this, like they're running ads like this, and like literally a week ago they're on camera saying the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And then it's like okay, some of like so many of these commercials are like race based now. It's like you can go, like you can see like in Georgia where Andrew Gillum is running for governor against this other guy. And so he's up there, and his commercials are like about like protecting protecting Medicare and like bringing integrity back to Georgia. It's more like issue based than that. And then like this other guy's shit is just, it's about like, do you want this man to steal the election from your homes? It's like, oh, okay, like why don't you just say it like, are you really going to vote for a black guy? Like that is the barely the subtext of the advertising.
So the guy's black and
yeah, the guy who's the guy who I'm talking about
right.
is running as black.
Right.
The other guy is Brian Kemp, a white guy. The guy who is also the Secretary of State for the state of Georgia. So he is in charge of preserving the integrity of the election. And like I was saying, I think I said this last week because it bears repeating because it's that fucking crazy. There are still like there was like 40,000. I think the total of like a bunch of things together between like mail-in ballots that they threw out because they said, oh, the signature didn't match. Like a person like that works there looks and goes, oh, okay, well, this this is a mail-in ballot from a black county. I don't think that signature matches this one. And they just throw it away without saying anything. And so they're under a lawsuit right now, and it just went through the day that's like, no, if you throw away their ballot, you have to tell them at the very least. It's like shit like this is what they're fighting for. Not to mention the 40,000 unprocessed registrations that are sitting in that guy's office, 70% of which are from black and brown communities.
Yeah.
It's
I just
rampant,
envision a movie in the future that's like going to go cover this all of what's going on right now, and that specifically, like they're going to show it. It's going to be like watching the hurricane or something that's like something race related that you're just like, what? I can't believe that fucking happened.
Yeah.
And speaking of that,
it's crazy that like all this is happening, and like not everybody is going, what the fuck are you guys doing?
I was watching this, they have on Netflix those decade pieces, those decade like documentary series where it's like the 80s, the 70s, the 90s. And I think the second episode for the 70s was the United States, Richard Nixon versus the United States. And it just goes into the scandal. And the whole time I'm thinking like, so wait, I mean, obviously like this dude's guilty of doing something, but like he just like broke in there and did this one thing. And it was like the biggest thing of the century. And like right off the top of my head, I'm just thinking like how many more things that are disgusting and vile that, Donald Trump has done than that. And like nobody is giving a shit whatsoever. Like
it's so crazy. Like everything, like every day is Watergate.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Every day there is a scandal that should be as scandalous as Watergate.
I think the correlation though between that has to definitely do. And I'm not excusing it by any means, but it's just like obviously what we experience in entertainment, what we've come to experience in entertainment since then. We're like so desensitized towards scandal.
Well, it's exhaustion, Well,
that too.
and there's this definite sense of like if they're just doing it in the open and they're not trying to hide it, like people don't think they're doing anything wrong.
Right.
They're walking into the streets naked and telling everybody, don't you see how beautiful my clothes are? And people are going, oh wow, yeah, that's a beautiful, gorgeous outfit. I've never seen anything like that.
It's really that crunk shit right there where he's like don't listen to him, plus he's wearing a dress, and besides, look what I can do. He's like, what does that have to do with anything? Oh wait, no, he's got a point.
The emperor's got no groove, man.
Yeah.
Like and so let's jump into this because I think I'll go through and I'll tell just quickly kind of run through my my choices going down the ballot this year. For the people, a lot of this has kind of like been talked about in the show before. And as I say this, I always want to give the caveat, like, when I come up with this stuff, it's a lot of course, just me living like, reading the news every day and kind of keeping up with that. And that kind of helps shape like kind of a baseline for it. And then as things get closer, you start to like really dive into it. And so the way that I start from is I get, I source a few different progressive guides, from different sources and stuff like that. A lot of times there's tons of crossover and stuff like that, and that gives me like a good starting point. And then I like to go and just look into the person if I'm not familiar with them, and take it from there, so that like I know what it is that I'm voting for, like who it is and stuff like that. And so it's a lot easier than the props, which I'll get to. So going through, and of course I'll post this on online as well. I'll probably share this to the Let It Bleed page. But we've got Gavin Newsom for governor. He's been I know I've talked about him on the show before. It's a guy I had a profile picture with for a little while. And I believe in him, but I don't think it's going to be any kind of a competitive race even. Like I think he's a shoo-in for it. So vote for Gavin Newsom. I think he's good.
I'm going to vote for Bobby Newport.
Bobby Newport. Oh man. He's probably
just
the write-in candidate. Bobby Newport wins.
I want it. That's what I was going to say earlier.
You wanted it.
That's what I was going to say. Come on, just no, don't do it. Don't run. Like I want it.
Oh man,
what is going on?
What
with that noise?
Oh man, yeah, that's really coming through here. I'm like afraid to mute this. Like, actually, here's maybe what I can do here. No, it's the line out here. Yeah, it's the notifications and reminders on the computer.
Okay.
What do I usually do? Is it usually like that?
I've never heard.
Oh
well. Oh well.
Anyway, for Congress, Harley Rouda. I've been talking about it for a very long time. So yeah. And then I'm gonna kind of skim past those and really talk into the Senate, because somebody I've been asked to explain like why all this shit's important and how it affects like what's going on right now. And the reason that all this shit is happening, all these crazy things that are going on and Donald Trump is just running rampant, enacting every, horrible thing he can think of, is because there's no check on government right now. That the House of Representatives and the Senate are both majority Republican, and they've all decided to like just hold the line, stay together, and protect each other, like for anything, And so as upset as, Democrats in Congress are, there's literally nothing that they can do to stop them right now. And so there's been, public pressure that's done a lot to help stop them. I think there has been some good fighting back in there, but it's not enough. Like if we don't take back the House and they retain control for 2 more years, and they are emboldened by an election that says, oh, what you've done already is like not pushing it far enough, the people will accept a lot if they're already accepting this. And that's what I fear could lead to like outright fascism. Like they're suspending rules of like this country, like, and they're deploying the military. They're deploying 4,000 troops into the southern border of this country to protect us from migrant women and children that are 1,000 miles away and will be here in about a month, that are coming, just walking together. And it's like, that is some straight up fascist shit. Like I keep saying this is a slow descent into fascism. And then I'm like, okay, but like, I don't want to be hysterical. It's not like crazy. And then like some more fascist shit happens and some more fascist shit happens. And it's like, okay, now we're deploying troops there and we are sanctioning like terrorists that were like, we're backing up the conspiracy theories that like protect him from any responsibility in his motivating his supporters to assassinate his political enemies. Like that is some fascist shit. So if we have a Senate, we have a House that gets taken back, what we get congressional oversight again. We get committees that are launching investigations, that are actually really talking to these people and trying to figure out, okay, why is there a direct line to Vladimir Putin's office from Donald Trump's bank? Well, there's literally no office in the land that is truly investigating that right now, except for Robert Mueller. Like there's supposed to be some like just hard stops at shit like that. And so what we can do is get Dana Rohrabacher, the guy who represents us now, get him out, get Harley Rouda in. That adds to the like flipping of the balance of power in the House of Representatives. And then all this shit stops because they are the bulwark that protects us from saying like, no, we're not going to sign, legalizing putting children in cages into law. That's crazy.
Now, my question, and this is just me needing to learn because I don't know. So you're saying we get Harley Rouda in there, who's obviously for the good and somebody who's going to join the good fight for that. But can't just rely on one person, though, right? There needs to be all of the different districts.
None of us are able to do this by ourselves. Right. Harley Rouda himself is not going to save.
So, what have you followed any other districts other than our own?
Oh yeah. There's there's Mimi Walters, who is a big Trump fan from Irvine, representing that area, and I think her name's like Katie Lipton. Shit, like this is where I don't have like the notes down. It's just like I know. So that's in Irvine. Mm-hmm. There's actually, I want to say it's 6 or 7 seats in California from the House of Representatives that are in competitive districts or districts that have like recently become competitive, like this one. Because before, like it's known, like from that's just like the way political operatives know it. It's like Orange County, Democrats don't even bother. There's no way you're like getting anywhere near that place. And this year is the first year that like it's ever been like, holy shit, this is a competitive race. This could definitely go our way. And the polls are suggesting that as well. But that means we all need to get out and do it. And so, yeah, like these people individually, Harley Rouda or Kevin De Leon, who I'm endorsing for Senate to replace Dianne Feinstein. These guys could be one of the people that make up a group that protects us from this stuff. And they have vowed to do that because they see what we're seeing. And like, this is wrong and this needs to stop. And not to mention that there's a lot to vote for. Like my biggest issue right now is Medicare for all. I think we need a drastic reform of medical, the way that we handle medical care in this country. And it is within grasp. There are people with like good ideas and ways to implement this and ways to start making this happen and start making that move towards that so that we can get away from this model of healthcare being insanely expensive and therefore just everybody's kind of just gambling, hoping they don't get sick or hoping they don't break a bone. That should not be happening in this country. Like that is, it's the thing that I'm most embarrassed by. And this is a thing that I think is very complicated. And it's something that is personal for me because both my parents were in the medical field. And I just grew up hearing stories about all of not just the stories of the people that go in there, but the way that the place operates and the way things have to get done and looking into how things all became that way. It's about eliminating the profit motive because that has just so many other things in this country has just ruined it. And that's made it like we spend so much more than every other developed country on medical care. Mm-hmm. And we are ranked almost like last in like the quality care.
Some of the things I've heard about, the opposite though, or, what would happen if we were to make it accessible for everybody, right? And I think that everybody should have it, by the way. But, one of the things that does fear people, it seems as though if you were to make it available and free to everybody, that the quality of it would suffer, being like, maybe it would turn into like the DMV instead. Every time you have to go for monthly treatments, it would turn into being like the most tedious thing in the world to go and do this, because naturally if businesses are not making profits, it's going to be like, well, what the hell? Mm-hmm.
And that's a good point. And I completely understand where people are coming from on that and why they would think that. Mm-hmm. Because it seems like there's only a limited amount of resources. It seems like if there's this much of the pie that is medical care, and if we're going to spread this out among everybody, it's going to get spread thin. Mm-hmm. But like it's the bloat and the waste of, you know, middle managers and stuff like that. We're talking about administrators, insurance people, putting it, the fact that like so many hospitals and medical things run off of the profit motive. That has caused all these things to inflate, and we get this really artificial like view of medical care in this country, because you think if you break a bone, like it costs $11,000 to repair that. It doesn't. It costs like, you know, let's say a few hundred. I don't know. I'm just making these numbers up, but that's why these costs get ballooned, because that's what they bill to insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
And then insurance companies can go back to their boss and say, hey, I got a deal. We are only going to pay, you know, $4,000 of this. And then we're going to pass on that copay of like, $1,000 to the person who broke their arm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, or if it was just the doctor and saying, hey, like, we're going to put this cast on it. I'm here. Here's the cast. The cast costs $20. My time, and you stay in this hospital or whatever. There's 100. Okay, $120. Your arm's broken. Cool. You go and, be well.
Mm-hmm.
When you eliminate that, you eliminate so much of the bloat and waste that has plagued like a lot of medical care in this country. And there are studies, and I can look them up like later if you want. But they are they kind of they say that Medicare for all would cost less than what we have now, because it is so inflated.
So with, if this were to go down as it should, then I don't know how they allocate their money, like what do they do that, like, do the businesses just make the profit, or is it because they're paying their doctors more? And if so, taking this away and giving free medical care to everybody, would that prevent people from wanting to become doctors possibly?
Well, yes. The vast majority of it, like where most of the money is going, is into corporate profits, and it's going to shareholders and things like that.
Okay.
Doctors do get paid a lot more in this country than they do in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody put this up before. It's like, yeah, like we would not be able to pay doctors as much as we do now.
But we're
if we were to
paying
make
them
it
for
Medicare for
fucking
all.
shit that's like I mean, in my personal experience anyway, we're paying them a lot of money to like tell them some basic shit that we could have got off of WebMD. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, the argument that I've heard was that like if a doctor they're spending half a $500,000 on medical school. Like there's a lot of them who are they're working like crazy. They've been studying to be doctors their whole lives. Now they are doctors, and it takes them 20 years just grinding as doctors, 60, 70 hours a week, sometimes 2 days in a row, just to like stay above and beyond their student loan debt. And
that's
so
a whole
I
other
think
thing though, to the education system. We
Yeah.
need reform in that as well, and
so it's like I'm talking about the end goal.
okay.
And I know the like means of implementation is going to be
Tedious.
hard, tedious, rough, and like there are people that are going to lose in that situation.
And
That's
it doesn't
people who, like,
doesn't
work
help
for
when it's
insurance
parties going
companies.
back and forth and repealing shit that people set in motion.
Yeah. And so it's like we all do need a unified plan to kind of move forward with this, and we can do it on the state level too. And so a lot of the people that I have endorsed on my ballot are people who believe in at least getting the ball rolling, the conversation going, to start to make that transition. And it's not to eliminate like private medical care, but it's to offer another option.
Right.
And another option that would alleviate like businesses from like having to provide health insurance for their employees that work over 40 hours a week. It's like it takes that burden off of, big business as well as, everyday people too.
Mm-hmm.
It is a dense issue, and one that I think we can't really dive into the really the nitty gritty of it in like the limited scope that we can,
Right.
not anymore than we have before.
Sure.
And so I'm sorry, I'm like a little bit little bit foggy today.
It's okay.
And so it was, it was rough. I know I'm not fucking killing it right now.
Well, it's difficult for anybody to understand, and that's why it's important that people like, our listeners that are kind of like, what, why, like, they just already checked out. Like we feel you too. Like this is definitely frustrating and it's hard to understand, but it has to start somewhere.
Exactly.
And that's why ideals are important, because if you keep making excuses for things being, oh, well, that sounds good on paper, but it's not going to work out. And you start listing all of these negative things, then you're just never going to get there. You have to fucking take those fucking leaps. And the bottom line is that it is working for so many other countries.
Exactly.
And it should. We're so fucked because we've allowed these excuses to, to just prevent us from actually going along with it. People putting fear into our hearts and heads about, like what's going to happen if we take it away. It's going to just completely dismantle all of the things that people have been spending so much money on already working toward. People that are in debt.
And so I'm like, when I say that, I'm like, yeah, no, I know that will have consequences for regular people, because like, I'm sorry, Pfizer, like, I don't care if if they fail, because it's
you
like,
say that as because you can't say the real thing.
What? No, big pharma, like that's like a major pharmaceutical company.
I thought you were trying
like
to
those
say,
are those are the kinds of places.
I thought you were trying to say like Kaiser.
No.
Okay.
Pfizer was the first was the first big pharma company I could riff right there.
I don't even know them.
I don't remember what they make right now, but like we think that because they put so much, like you were saying, they are the ones that are pumping $120 million into like the state level campaigns to entrench this idea that the way things are perfectly fine and that they should not change. If anything, they should be going back and rolling back any changes that have been made recently, because they make fuckloads of money when they do that. Like their return on investment like that is, $100 every one that they're spending. They're spending $100 million to keep people in power that will make them $1 billion. Like it is a hell of a payoff. And so it's it's a real intricate issue, man.
These are the reasons why the distribution of wealth is so unbalanced. It's not even, well, I wouldn't say unbalanced. It's just ridiculously like one-sided. It's close, on another side. And this is why we're getting closer to not having a democracy. It's basically just them pretending that our vote counts when really it's fucking, it's like an oligarchy,
Well, yeah, that's exactly. It's an oligarchy. We've been, so many people have been scared mongered, from socialistic ideas, and like everything that they've said. Oh no, you can't do that. Like you can't be socialist. Like, oh, you don't want to be able to like do what you want for life.
Always turns into despotism.
You want to just be, just sick and not being able to like get into, not own anything, like not be able to get into see a doctor. It's like, all of those things are happening right now. So it's like, what's there to be scared of? Because you kind of delivered almost all that shit.
Or then there's people that I know that are kind of poor and they're like, I don't want to pay extra money and taxes so that I have to do that. I want the right to choose not to have to go to a doctor. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah, it's this very like, me first mentality that is kind of really deeply entrenched in the American psyche. And this being said, like, I am also, very much in that camp. Like what I'm saying is like just moving things towards that direction.
Right.
Like, and not moving things all the way. I'm not saying that we're, but I'm definitely not saying like this should be a socialist country, but like
right.
making Medicare, like medical care, a human right.
Well, we already
is not like a socialist idea.
We already are a quasi-socialist country. We have social security. We have welfare. We have all of these things.
We have an army.
They're just disguised under different names. There's just they just try to tell you that it's not socialism, but it is forms of socialism. Nobody's saying at that level that we're going to go, and this is why they're actually allowing you to vote on it. The difference between what's going on here and what happened in Russia or in China or in Vietnam all these years when they went into communism was the fact that they just had fucking they basically did more along the lines of what Donald Trump is doing in this country.
It's really similar what
Yeah.
he's doing and how those countries came to be the way they are. So yeah, that is, I think, the guiding light as as I go forward into this. That's what's important to me. And I say all this because I really do want to give some context to anybody that is, that is listening. They're thinking, oh, okay, I don't quite line up with that.
Well, it's
I
important,
think
you know.
I think the free market is still, the way that we should be finding solutions on education and healthcare and stuff like that. And that's fine. But just in case anybody didn't know what I was feeling. God damn it. I'm just off today, so let me just fucking ram right through this, okay? And we'll post this later so people don't have to like take notes or nothing. But for Lieutenant Governor, I have Eleni Kounalakis, starting off with like the really easy ones to say. Lieutenant Governor is the, it's the vice president to the governor. Not a ton of power. In a lot of ways a very symbolic position. Gavin Newsom was the lieutenant governor, and now that Jerry Brown's leaving, it's looking like he will be elected to be the governor. And that's how a lot of those things tend to work. So not super important, but that's what I have. Secretary of State, the person who's in charge of keeping the elections and stuff like that, making sure that they are run fairly and things are running smoothly in there, like everything is above board. I have Alex Padilla. For Attorney General, the head of the generals, the head of a lot of criminal justice in the state of California. I have Xavier Becerra. For State Treasurer, which is the person who takes care of the takes care of all the money in California. That's Fiona Ma. I have her going to be reelected. State Superintendent of Public Instruction. Now this is a fucking mouthful, and this is like the person who is in charge of the education system in California. And this one's kind of crazy because this race has more money put into this one than anything else on the ballot, which is kind of a trip to me. And I have Tony Thurmond down for mine.
So why do you think that is?
Well, because his opponent, who actually I can't really hate on either of them. This is definitely one of those ones where I'm just ooh, it came down close.
Mm-hmm.
But his opponent is backed by a lot of major charter schools, and backed by a lot of charter school money, and kind of backed by the Betsy DeVosses of the world.
Oh.
And that being said, though, he is not them. Not an outright. He doesn't seem to be an outright corrupt. Exact.
But are
money,
they when they're running?
But exactly.
And
there are.
You know what I mean?
There's enough in there that makes it
because I think that
makes me hesitate.
I think that's the thing that generally disrupts people's interest in getting involved in voting is because of just the letdowns that people have had. Because during elections and campaigning, anybody could promise things, and they just when they don't deliver, people get upset. It seems like Donald Trump's the only person where it's been the opposite effect. It's
where he doesn't deliver and people love it.
Well, he delivers on the dumbest things of what he proposed, and he's not delivering. He's just trying to still build a wall and fucking keep Mexicans out.
Yeah, he didn't deliver on building a wall. But he's but I locked him in cages. So
but he's trying. Yeah, he's locking them Boehners in cages.
And so, that's a really interesting one. I encourage people to really check it out for themselves if they're worried about it. I'm endorsing Tony Thurmond for this because he is, a more independent guy, not as backed by PACs. He's got some ideas I disagree with. There's not either one of them that I really agree with fully. And so, that is a tough call, but I'm backing Tony Thurmond on this one. For State Controller, I have Betty Yee. She's been doing it for a long time, and she's done it well. And a lot of these it's they're barely contested, or there's somebody who's running against them who's just a fucking crackpot. Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara, and then starting to get into the state assembly and county levels. For the state 72nd, I have Josh Lowenthal. For the 74th, I have Cotty Petrie Norris. I have Tom Umberg for the state senate in the 34th district. And for OCDA, Todd Spitzer. Now that one, I don't know if you saw, but like Dave May was like,
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard from
he's
him
like-
before. But that's, you know,
he's like-
I don't, that definitely is a personal thing, which also is where I've gotten a lot of insight on other aspects of, you know, the Democratic Party as well.
Yeah.
From certain things, which, I mean, it's not really necessary to go into at this point, but
Yeah.
it is one of the reasons why
Oh,
I think that it's important for anybody on any side, but especially even with the Democratic side, to understand that just because it is obviously a lot better than, you know, the opposite, that you still need to hold your fucking side accountable for shit.
Absolutely.
You know, you
Yeah.
still need to pay attention. It's not over when, you know, you beat them. It's an ongoing thing that you need to pay attention to, and you need to hold it accountable, because then this is what happens. You know, people lose faith because it just gets so fucked. And then,
I'm with you 100%, because Democratic Party is like by necessity, like there's no alternative, which is why I, you know, endorse the Democratic Party. But there are so many things wrong with so many things that have been done. A lot of these choices, like, not even good. You know, it's kind of like the lesser of two evils. And I think this is another one.
right.
You know, Tony Rackakis, there's a, you know, long and detailed history of him being an unbelievable bastard.
Yeah.
And Todd Spitzer also seems like a complete piece of shit.
Yeah.
He seemed on paper, like legislatively and by like the issues he stands on, man, I think he barely ekes out in the, like, you know, piece of shit contest. I think he barely squeaks out that win, but it's a tough one. I can't really wholeheartedly endorse either one.
Yeah.
That's where it kind of leans, but, you know, not all of these are good choices. You know, I already went through all the ones that I'm confident in.
Right.
Like, the rest of these are very difficult.
But it has to be one of those two.
Yeah, it really does. There's no other choices that we got right now.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this is something that, like, I hope people, you know, kind of remember, take an interest in, and look into, like, what the district attorney of your, like, county does, and the immense power that they wield, and how quickly we can change a lot of things about, you know, the way this country works for the better, at, you know, smaller, more local levels like that.
Right.
It's not going to happen this time around.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. We move on. So for, you know, OC Sheriff, I had Duke to win. And then as we get more and more granular, sorry, I'm going to get into Huntington Beach stuff. Huntington Beach City Council, I'm just run through this real quick. Shayna Lathis, Dane Kalmick, Brian Burley, and Kim Carr. I have Diana Marks for HB City, High School District, Marty Salgado, and Diana Carey. And there's a couple of other ones in there, but I seriously doubt anybody is kind of like... there are very few people that are even going to have this ballot here.
Sure.
So, you know, I don't want to get too into it. I'll just say HB Union High School District, Marty Salgado, Diana Carey, Ocean View School District, Jack Souders, Kate Holmes, John Briscoe, Coast Community College, Jim Moreno, in Westminster, the 5th, Jerry McAuliffe, Virginia Torres in the 2nd. And you know what? If you didn't catch all that, fucking pause it and rewind it, because I'm not going to go through it. Because I seriously doubt anybody that's listening to this is ever going to give a shit. So let's get into the props, because I think this is where, you know,
this is where the confusing shit's
where
going
things
down.
do get confusing.
Yeah.
And I you know, I wish I could be more of, you know, a leader on this one and say with more authority on this stuff, but it is difficult. You know, some of these come down to ideological differences, and some of them are very, very complex.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you where I fell down on it. I'll tell you where I fell down and why I was thinking that. And I want everybody to know that, like, this could be, like, I could be missing something,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
I'm also, you know, leaning on what a lot of, like, progressive voter guides and stuff like that said.
Sure.
So that helps, because it's backed up by other people too.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if there's other stuff I might have missed, like these are such intricate situations that, like, you know, I just want to make sure that was
Right on.
clear.
Yeah, he's not a robot, people.
Yeah. So,
Or are you?
well,
Well,
don't spoil the
that one time you went and
season
met
finale,
with
man.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I smoked weed and I turned into a robot with him. Oh man. So for prop one, which is housing programs and veteran loans bond, and that would authorize $4 billion to support the existing affordable housing programs. Because affordable housing is such a kind of crisis in California, when we've got rising homeless populations and an increasing number of people who are out on the streets because they can't really get the care that they need.
No, it's because of the choices they made. They didn't want to work. They were lazy. They made bad choices. They all did drugs. They turned to drugs, and they're all out there for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, and this is one where I will say, like, Democrats have, like, they've got to own, like, a lot of this. There is absolutely merit to saying that there's too much there's too much red tape, there's too much regulation in California, and taxes can be too high and driving business out. And there is 100% merit to those arguments. That being said, I still fall down on the side of that. I think we do need to fund these programs. We do need to continue funding them, because giving housing to the homeless, like, there have been so many studies that have shown what that can do and how that can actually be like a net gain on the economy. Because if they're not having to sleep in a tent outside, and you're not having to call the cops on them because they're like rummaging through shit, you're not having to bring them to the ER because they have a severe infection from like a little cut that they got. You're not having to, they're like police them and like get them away from businesses from scaring away customers.
You don't have to go complain about them every fucking time you drive by the riverbed down, in Santa Ana, and say, oh, it's disgusting, and then just think that the problem's going to go away if you kick them out of their spot at the riverbed. It's like, what do you think they're going to go? What do you think is going to happen to these people? Do you think that they're just going to just magically like not exist anymore? And if you do hope that they just fucking fall off and die, then you kind of are an inhumane piece of shit. These are people. Like, most of them, are not the people that deserve to be there for whatever reason, or for whatever reason you think that they deserve to be there for. That this is a huge problem, and it's really hard to find a solution for this sort of thing, but it has to start somewhere. Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying, yes, I think we need to do something, because I think doing nothing
less fucking military spending, more housing project spending.
I mean, a really good question. Is this the best way to go about doing it? I don't know.
Right. But it's something.
I don't know.
You got to try something to learn. Yeah.
So I'm going to vote yes. Because I believe in it. I lean that way. I think we do need to do something. But it's up to you. Yeah. Prop 2, similar measure, using millionaires' tax revenues for homeless prevention, housing bond measures. Prop 2 would amend an existing law to allow some of the money that's being slated for mental health services to be specifically used for housing people with serious mental illness. Again, this is and this is a great one. This is one that we were talking about last night, because she was telling me, it's like, well, like, where is that money? What programs are getting money taken from them to be put towards housing? And like, that's a great question. What is the impact of that? That I'm not going to stand up here and pretend like I know what's getting pulled from in order to help fund this stuff.
I wish we had Dave's sister on here, because that's what she does. That's what her focus is on, and like the projects of housing, of trying to build homes.
I have an aunt that worked in mental health solutions and dealing with like at-risk youth and drug problems down in San Diego. And that's where I got a lot of like very interesting insight from hearing what she's had to say about that. And so this is another squeaker. I think I'm going to vote yes, but it's a right. It's a decision that I think everybody needs to make sure their due diligence. And I'm also leaving myself open to changing my mind on that one. So that one I really encourage people to read before you jump into it. 3, also I'm voting yes. That is a Water Infrastructure and Watershed Conservation Board initiative, which is authorizing the state to issue $8.8 billion in water infrastructure and repairs. And I think, for me, a lot of these state state measures and stuff like that. That money that goes directly into the economy, creates jobs, and really does a lot of the very necessary work we need to repair our infrastructure in this state, like a lot in this country, but like we are so far behind on that. Like this should have been a project that is kind of ongoing for the last 20 years. And especially with, the drought that was not that long ago, and how, like things are being projected, like with, major climate change, effects really starting to hit by 2040. And now actually the Amazon rainforest, which is probably the biggest single thing on Earth that protects us from climate change and stuff like that. That is in Brazil, where a like far right nationalist candidate just won the election the other day, who has vowed to like just open it up completely for anybody to just fucking mow down the Amazon rainforest.
That's so.
And
it's just so like it's so like I can't even find the words to say just how that just represents just pure evil. Like, yeah, like nope, let's not learn from it doesn't matter whether you're conservative or not. That's like just like a common like theme in all like art in the world. It's just like, just don't destroy the world. It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
And you like no, yeah. As soon as you get in there, you're like, yeah, oh yeah, fuck that, fuck the trees, fuck the plants. Like, no, global warming doesn't exist. Like,
oh no, this guy is a real treat, and I encourage anybody who has not heard of this guy to kind of look up some of his quotes. And I know I'm not going to get them exactly right, but him turning to a female colleague that worked in the Brazilian government, like as like she was like a senator or something, like whatever the equivalent is, and so he's like, "You're not good enough for me to rape you." And then like walking away. That's one good one. And then the other one that really stuck out to me was, oh yeah, it's definitely time for an armed revolution. Like, you guys need to vote me in, and then we need to kill some people and just clean the slate. Like, get this country back to where it needs to be. That's a paraphrase. I don't remember exactly. I didn't have it written down. But yeah, fuck that guy. Anyway. Yeah, so that's what I feel. It's a rude roundabout way to say that's why I feel Prop 3 is important.
Mm-hmm.
Prop 4, funding 1.5 billion to children's hospitals. I'm saying yes on that one. Prop 5, no. Okay, yeah, this is an initiative to amend the state constitution to allow home buyers who are older than 55, disabled, or who own. Yeah, this is a fucking difficult one, and it is very boring. To be honest, it's about like if you can transfer the value of your home for like the state for like property taxes. So like if you have to move from somewhere, you're not like, and you were an old lady who's been living in your house for 50 years and you pay $600 a year and like insurance, that you can, if you have to move somewhere else, you can carry that value with you one time, so that you can continue paying $600 a year for your property taxes and not suddenly be hit with a $4,600 a year bill. Yeah, like the fucking $5,000 one I've got sitting behind me right now. So, yeah, but that, I am not totally sure on this one. I am not super well read on the subject. I think I can really see how that has potential for abuse. So I'm thinking no on that one. But that's a difficult one. Write me in if you have some more to say about it.
Sure.
All right. And let's see. Skipping through here. 6 is about repealing the gas tax. And as much as I don't like, how much we pay at the pump either, it's something that I think we need, because we need to do, critical infrastructure repair. Like I was talking about with the water. Like, I don't think we need to take away like however many billions of dollars in funding. Let's see, what is it?
I think we just need to do away with fucking cars.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's because like no matter how many fucking lanes you keep extending on the 5 or the 405 freeway, if you're selling a billion cars a year, you're not gonna. It'll never be enough. We're like already so far behind. And
yeah, we really need to be looking into like mass transit. Well, I mean, we are looking into different mass transit solutions, but it needs to be way more accessible for for everybody in LA and
needs
in
to
Orange
just come
County.
over here and dig some more pits. He needs to dig a pit.
Yeah,
it's just a pit.
Exactly.
Just dig a
just
hole.
Need some fucking Elon pits, man. Yeah.
And then we'll get the flying cars going. We'll be set.
Yeah.
And,
So yeah, that's that one. Prop 7. That's we're gonna get rid of daylight savings time. Say fuck it, let it burn. Yeah. Prop 8. I think I'm going to abstain from this one. I do have a belief. It's a tough thing because this is about the way that we fund or the way that dialysis clinics are run in this country.
Right. This was one that I've seen some. This is where it gets tricky with that because this kind of goes into the whole like, do you really want your dialysis checkups to be like a DMV visit every single time you go, sort of fucking thing because of, yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, there are a shocking amount of like dialysis clinics that are like, a fucking Golden Corral or something like that. Like just like really shitty and like this is clearly like not passing health code stuff.
Making me hungry.
And it's a tough one because what this is it limits the profits that a dialysis clinic can generate, like a for-profit dialysis clinic. And they do, again, this is where I have issues with the profit motive and how it how it can affect the level of care that people get and how things can be, can be run in that way.
Right.
And this is something that I come to from like talking to my parents on this issue, and reading up on it from what I know. But there absolutely can be like damage done by that,
Mm-hmm.
In the crossover to like the way that I think things should be, like that is something to not take lightly, like at all, because these are like real people, real decisions, real like lives on the line when it comes to stuff like this. And so
I wonder what most dialysis patients would think about this.
Well, it's
You
tough.
think that it's probably split just as equal because of just different ways of viewing it?
There are, it is not hard to find dialysis patients on both sides of this issue.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Who are arguing for it. And so it's like not something that it's too important,
Mm-hmm.
It's too important to go into it half-cocked.
So what are you doing?
I think I'm just going to explain what I did about it, like what I just did. Really implore people to make sure that they are on top of it, and if you're making a decision, that you are well informed on it. But yeah, I think I'm not going to say what I was doing on that one.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is like, politics is tough, man. This is difficult. These are like the decisions that these people are like, tasked to make every day. And it's like nothing works for everybody, man. It's hard. It's like it's a giant responsibility.
It is true. Nothing works for everybody.
And so you want to make sure that
that bitch is looking
treating
at me
it
like,
as such.
Fuck you. She's like, damn. By the way,
Damn.
for anybody who can't see,
high as we are.
Yeah, talk about resting bitch face. That's not even like resting bitch face. That's just
man.
like, fuck.
So then,
Can we explain if that wasn't me
huh?
that you're talking about?
Oh, sorry. The
So our
picture
live
on the
audience
Chromecast
member over
behind
here.
is not you.
No, it's not the cat either. It's this like it's on Kevin Spacey's basement TV. This I don't even know what that is. It's some sort of
It looks
classic
like,
painting.
if-
Looks like the Queen of Hearts and the Virgin Mary had a baby.
It looks like Picasso was trying to draw Mother
Yeah.
Teresa, but like he was trying to do it really quickly.
Yeah, sort of Picasso-ish. Except the eyes are in the right place. Anyways.
And so, speaking of eyes, as in AYE, boom, segue. I'm voting. Prop 10. We get into the the affordable housing crisis again, and that is another like extremely difficult one to talk about. I know there's a lot of passionate voices that I trust that are very in favor of this one. But I can absolutely see this doing not what was intended, and that it was allowing more rent control to happen in, to be allowed in the state. And, I can see that as a giant like disincentive for more, for people to invest in buying houses and start making more houses in, in California, when we need so much more like living space and room to, kind of build in, LA and Orange County to accommodate all the people that are here. So,
but there's got to be something done. Wait, so what are they talking about? The prices that are set, like rent control? You're talking about rent control, because I don't think that the problem is that there's not enough places to live. I think that it's that fucking people can't afford them.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like, which of the, like, do we solve that problem by building more houses that people like, that, like the people are competing for, that people can like buy and live and drive prices down for stuff? Or do we solve that by, like just regulating the housing market to make sure that, you can't raise, Ethel's social security check?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, or gentrifying the fuck out of areas so that it drives people out of where they fucking, live.
There's no good answer.
Yeah.
There really is no good answer.
It's
yeah,
shitty.
I think I'm gonna leave it at that, unfortunately. I wish I had better answers for everybody on these ones, but this is so like deep. It just wouldn't be right to do that, However, Prop 11, I'm voting fucking hard no on that one, because fuck the people who put this together. This law was written. Okay, this is about ambulance employees with paid on-call breaks training initiative. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's the name.
Oh, so they have to waive their breaks?
Yeah, but what this is it was written. These are like, a lot of them are like basically like fucking high school kids, man, and like there's not. It's kind of, it seems like, oh wow, yeah, this is like something that we need, because if there's an emergency, we need people to be there. Like, what if somebody was on their break and somebody was bleeding out and they said, no, sorry, I'm on my break? It's like, that doesn't really happen. What does happen is that they fucking take breaks away from people, and the people who wrote this law, like, they are in a gigantic like lawsuit by paramedics who were saying that they like abuse them with like their wages and overtime hours, taking breaks, stuff like that. And so this is saying, okay, that's the law, but also this applies retroactively. So if anybody had been doing this, it's now legal. And it's like,
to
shit
save
like
them
that.
from those lawsuits.
Yeah. When it's like very transparent, that's where it's like a little bit easier for me to
So
make a
that's
decision.
why they get all those fucking profits. So, because they know they're going to get sued, and they don't want to they got to have their little extra cushion, It's like, oh yeah, well, we already accounted for that. We're not going to, we're making a lot of money.
So anyways, that is, I encourage everybody to look into that one as well, but I'm a little more confident in that one than I am the others. And then Prop 12, I really have not looked enough into this one. I don't want to give a straight answer, because, on one hand I can see it's like, oh yeah, like, giving bigger cages for, for animals and stuff like that, for chickens, like more, like less animal cruelty, which to me I'm thinking is less like meat production, which could be a benefit from like a global warming standpoint. But like, this is me just kind of free associating, not really looking deeply into this one.
This one's gonna be split just between the whole like vegan, non-vegan thing, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and then but like, if you vote yes, and like the price of like meat, eggs, chicken, basic like grocery staples goes up on account of that. Like it's a tough one. It's one that I have not really invested a ton of my time into, so I don't want to really sway people one way or the other.
So where's the straw proposition?
The straw proposition. I do not think we got one.
I'm just kidding.
You mean the straw position?
The straw position.
That was not given to the people. Oh man. So yeah, we are going to take a quick little break, and we're going to wrap up right after this.
Yeah.
But we're back. All right. Anyways, because I am way too awkward to fill airtime while this guy goes to the bathroom.
Pee.
So with no guest, I was like, oh God.
I just drink water a lot now. And
I'm
I have
a little
to pee all the time.
Oh yeah. So do I, man.
All the time.
These fucking things are great. But yeah, that I think kind of brings us to the end of the ballot there. I do have some opinions on judges. That was a real simple thing that I threw together where it's like, in general, I want to confirm people. There's not a lot of explanation to it. It's just a yes or no in the way all that works. But that is super boring. And I know a lot of this has probably been a little bit on the boring side. And I wish I had more ways to make that entertaining, but I
saw a good meme today, though.
I've got
a good meme that says if you're over 18 and you have the time to dress up for Halloween, then you should be able to take the time to fucking vote. You know?
My man, Billy Eichner.
Yeah. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh, it was him. Okay. I saw it on a meme passed around by a few other people, and they didn't quote him. It just was that quote.
That happens.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, so that is it. People go out and vote. It is so much more important than, well, I mean, this will be coming out on the Day of the Dead. So you don't want your abuelita to come back on the one day that she can talk to you and fucking smack you across the head because all this crazy shit is going on.
Mijo.
People are dying. Like, the system, things are getting worse.
You don't want to get chancla slapped.
Exactly. Don't get a fucking ghost chancla upside the head. Wow, could I have said that any whiter? Yeah. Jesus Christ. Like, I have, like, just crazy codmouth, and it's just like, chancla. I'm like, oh, God. I have been possessed by the fucking, ghost of John Ritter or something. I don't know what's happening right now. Oh, too soon? Right.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway.
I sounded very right there, too. Oh, my goodness.
That's our big combination election special.
Gosh.
Talking about civics for this long absolutely makes us paler. Maybe we're scared because there's ghosts out. I don't know what's happening.
Perhaps.
Always got it.
Frankie fell asleep and she turned fucking white.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Anyways, we need to get these
Is she
pictures.
listening to Wham?
All right. Well, I hope that was informative for everybody else, because it certainly was for myself, who tried reading all of these props and was like, still, I mean, even as confused as I am, still, I feel a lot more confident that I at least have like a side, or at least understand kind of what we're voting on with the propositions, because I was just like reading them like, what the fuck? And then, like I said, these ads that are being pushed around out there don't do any help whatsoever. It's like, yeah, don't vote for that. Don't be a stupid head. Like, vote for this instead. And it's like, ugh. So here you go, guys. For anybody else out there who is thinking that it is just complicated or that it's stupid, just listen. And, hopefully it helped guide you. If you have any other objections, questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out, message Phil, because I'll just redirect you to Phil. And he'll help you out as best he can, as well as probably send you some information, probably links to whatever.
Yes, so, I have tons more, because each of these really would like deserve their own fucking hour show, like each thing.
If you happen to listen to this whole fucking episode, you are the man and the woman.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I looked over, I didn't realize how long this had gone. I looked over at like a minute, it was like fucking 70. I'm just like, oh shit, nobody is still fucking listening.
But it's important, people. It really is. It's definitely something that we need to exercise while we still have the ability to do so. There's a lot of other things that you're doing right now that are probably a bigger waste of time, even though you don't think that. So get on it.
Exactly. There are bigger wastes of time out there, like Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal fucking waste of time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? You could always go ahead and follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and anywhere on social media, as well as subscribe to the podcast. Tell all your friends to subscribe to the podcast. We need to make a proposition where people have to listen to our show.
We need to get like a demo tape and then just give it out to the kids when they come looking for candy.
Right.
I'd be like,
exactly.
Give them like a QR code to scan.
They don't do that anymore.
You're welcome.
They don't do that anymore.
This is so much better. This is brain candy, kids. This is knowledge. All right. Where else are you going to get the hard hitting news about Alex Jones and fucking man. My brain doesn't work today, people. I'm sorry. You all deserve better than this.
It's because politics are fucking fatiguing.
I am exhausted.
Yeah.
Exhausted. I didn't even bring up all the fucking hate crimes and murders and the fucking like biggest attack on the Jewish community ever in American history that happened a couple days ago. Like, it's real bad out there, guys. It's bad that like it fucking wears on me.
But you know what's good? Our fucking podcast.
Yes, it
Tune
is.
in, subscribe.
So tell your grandma.
Yeah.
Listen to the fuck out of it.
And as always, you could follow me on Instagram at HoodRatStuff with 3 Fs. That way you could keep up to date with any of these comedy shows that I've been talking about, or Art in the Park, or just about anything that our friends are doing, or, yeah, there's a lot of different things that are going to be coming up. And Psychedelic Lions Den, psychedelic_lions_den, if you enjoy cool art. And if you have art or are an artist and want to be featured or want to get more involved in this new thing I'm starting, another new thing called the Fellowship of the Art, which is basically an assembly of artists. I know, yeah. Wait till you see the flyer. It looks pretty fucking dope.
Nice.
And we come together to discuss ways that we can really bring more of a community down here to Orange County, because it's really lacking. We need to kick it more. We need to make art. So be part of it. Get involved. Hit me up. If you got ideas, I'm open to it. So that's what I've got. Phil?
Well, if you guys want to see me have either the best or the worst day of my life, make sure that you follow me on Twitter at Phil Nobody Cares and on Instagram at Nobody Cares Phil. I think pretty much no matter the way things go, the one thing I can guarantee you is that it will probably be very dramatic and explosive. So, yeah.
A YouTube channel.
Go ahead and do that. Oh, maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Are you going to start a YouTube channel?
This is a face for radio, son.
Yeah.
I haven't ruled it out. Shit, if we lose, I'm gonna start own underground resistance radio channel shit. I don't know, something like that.
I dig.
Clearly, this is the brain
it.
of a fucking
I feel it.
leader. So,
And that walrus picture right there just made my day. That makes everything
seals
better.
it off.
Anyways, you know what? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, you the real OG. So, as always, let it bleed.